Okay, so for this part today, we've got two things to do. The first thing that's going to happen is they're going to give you some information and ask you to come up with the equation. So I'm going to show you how to do that first. Then after that, they're going to give you the equation and ask you to pull out and identify all the pieces. The problem that Isaac just had me do for 15 was very similar to that. The only difference is I don't have to graph it today. I just have to identify all the different pieces. So the first thing I'm going to give you is, here's the information, tell me the equation. Then the second one is, here's the equation, give me the information. The first thing that we're going to go through, this is the kind of generic formula. If it opens left, right, up, or down, and it goes through the vertex of 0, 0. Okay? That's my generic equation. We had that on Friday also. And that's how we got those last few ones there. Okay, but again, what we're doing is we're coming up with the equation based on this formula. So what we need to figure out is we need to figure out what the letter P stands for. P stands for the distance between the vertex to focus or the vertex to the directrix. That's how you find P. So I'm going to give you some of those informational pieces, and then you have to then basically find the distance.
Could you write that on the board?
Sure. P equals distance from vertex to focus or vertex to directrix. Okay, that's what the P is going to equal. Now, another way of doing it also would be if you were given the focus and directrix, could you just find the distance between them and divide it by 2? That could also be another way of finding it. Okay? So what they're going to do is they're going to give you the information. You have to put it in the appropriate formula. The first formula, does that open up or down, left or right? Which way would the first one open? Up and down. How did you know it was up and down? The x was squared. So then this one has to be right and left? Because again, the y is squared. Okay? So here's how it's going to be. On a problem that looks like this, sometimes they'll give you a picture and sometimes they will give you just information. If it tells me that the focus is the ordered pair 2, 3, and 0, and the directrix is that x equals negative 2/3. Now, one of the things that I like to do is I like to draw a picture if it does not have one. Why do I do that? Just because I like to have a visual with it. So if I graph the ordered pair of 2/3 and 0, which way would I start by going? Nope. Not up 2, not down 2/3. Not left 2. Not right 2. Right 2/3. There you go. Okay. The ordered pair is 2/3 and 0. Don't try to confuse that with slope. Okay. All we're doing is we're moving over 2/3 to the right. That's what we're doing. So 2/3 to the right means if that's where my focus is going, that means that should open to the right. That's how that graph should be. Now, again, I don't have to graph it. I'm just using that as a visual part for this one. So since it opens to the right or to the left, here's what we have to do then is we have to use x equals 1/4p y squared. Now notice the one thing I didn't do. Did I put the directrix on there yet? No. Guess what? Don't really need it. Because I know that the vertex was at 0, 0 for this problem. So how far is it from the focus to the directrix, or focus to the vertex? 2/3, right? So I'm going to put 1 over 4 times 2/3 y squared. What's 4 times 2/3? 8 over 3. Now here's where it gets to look a little goofy. 1 divided by 8/3. Do you like to have a fraction inside of a fraction? No. So then in order to get rid of that, you multiply by the reciprocal of the bottom. What's the reciprocal of 8/3? 3/8. So my final answer is x equals 3/8 y squared. And you're done. Now, realistically, most of the problems are not fractions. So a lot of times all you got to do is plug whatever that distance is in for p and simplify it. You take 4 times whatever that distance is. I went to the right with this one because it opens to the right. Now, I'll give you another one. If it says the focus this time is at 0, -5/3, and the directrix is y equals +5/3, which way should this open? Up or down, left or right? Okay, let me put the point on there so we know where it's at. 0, -5/3 is down here. So which way should it open? Up or down, and specifically it should open down. Should go like this. So if it opens down, that's y equals 1 over 4p x squared. How far is it from F to V? How far down did you go? How far down did you go? You went down 5/3. So guess what number goes in your P? 5/3, and specifically a negative because we went down, right? So I take 1 over 4 times -5/3 x squared. What's 4 times -5/3? I right now have 1 divided by -20/3. Do you guys like to have it as a fraction inside of a fraction? No. So when I do that is I multiply it by the reciprocal. What is the reciprocal of -20/3? -3/20. And I'm done. The first half of the assignment, this is what you have to do. You have to identify if it's going to open left, right, up, or down, as far as, and then put it in the appropriate formula. All you need to figure out is what's the distance from the vertex to the focus or vertex to the directrix, and then put that number into your problem. Okay? The second half of your assignment, it's going to look like this. Now I've got a couple different types of formulas for you. Y equals 1 over 4p x minus h squared plus k. Have you seen that type of format before?
In my nightmares.
In your nightmares. Also in the first half of the chapter. This was in when we had to shift it from left to right or up or down or all that kind of stuff like that. This is known as vertex form. The vertex for this one is h and k. Yes, Dave?
Is there a possibility you could put a formula in the most basic form on the board so I can write it in the notes?
This is the basic form.
Oh.
So when we see this, this is going to be what the vertex is. Now, from here, the focus In order to figure out what the focus is going to be, when it opens up or down like that, we're going to take k and we're going to add p to it. Whatever that p is. And then to find the directrix, we're going to take y equals k minus p. How you find the p is what we did on Friday when we took the fraction and set it equal to 1 over 4p and we cross multiplied and divided. That's how you find that p. And the last piece that they're going to also ask for you from is axis of symmetry. The axis of symmetry is x equals whatever the h is. Again, this is if they open up and down. How did I know it was opened up and down? Huh? Because the x is squared. Right. And the y is by itself. Now on the other hand, what if it's x equals? That's y minus k plus h. The vertex is still h and k. That has not changed. Just identify where the h and the k are at for this problem. When it's x equals, the h is on the outside and the k is on the inside. When it's y equals, the h is on the inside and the k is on the outside. So be careful. The focus this time is going to be h plus whatever the p is. Oops. And the k is going to not be moved. The directrix is going to be x equals h minus p. And the axis of symmetry is going to be y equals whatever the k is. Now for these problems, here's what they're going to give you. They are going to give you the equation. All I want you to do is pull the information out of the equation. That's how we're going to do it. There is no graphing involved with this. There's nothing involved with that other than you tell me the information based off of the numbers that are in those spots. Okay? That's what you're going to do for this part of the assignment. Okay, so then here's the way these problems are going to look. It's going to say something like this. Y equals 1/8 x minus 3, the quantity squared, plus 2. Okay? Now, first and foremost, let's find the vertex. What number is in the h position? 3. What number is in the k position? 2. Now, sometimes people get them backwards, but remember when it's y equals, the h is inside, the k is outside. Now, here's the other part that they're going to have you also doing for me. They're going to also tell me, describe the transformation that took place. Have you ever described the transformations that take place? Yeah. Last chapter and the beginning of this one. When it says 3, 2, that means you went to the right how far? 3, and up how far? 2. So right 3, up 2. That's not new. That's me describing the transformations. You guys have done that a lot of times already. Now, as far as finding where the F and the D and the axis of symmetry is, first thing that I'm going to figure out, or what I want to know, is how far is the P? So what's the fraction that's in front of the parentheses? 1/8 equals 1 over 4p. Solve for p. How do you solve a proportion? Cross multiply. What's 1 times 4p? What's 1 times 8? And when I divide by 4 to both sides, what's 8 divided by 4? 2. 2 is my p. Again, you take this number and you set it equal to 1 over 4p, and you cross multiply and divide. Now for that particular case, are we adjusting the y coordinate or the x coordinate for this one? When it opens up and down, you adjust the y coordinate. So, what did you get for p? 2. What was the y coordinate of the vertex? 2. What's 2 plus 2? 4. This stays 3. That goes to be a 4. Oh, why did I write it like that? Then, the directrix. You don't add 2 this time. You subtract 2. What's 2 minus 2? And the axis of symmetry runs right down the x coordinate for this one because it opens up and down. So it's x equals, what did the x equal? X equaled 3. Now the only thing that you have forgotten in the transformations, you accounted for the 3 and the 2, which you've done before. What's the 1/8 do? It's multiplied on the outside. What's a multiply on the outside tell you? Vertical, and then you went shh, because you couldn't remember. Shrink. By how far? 1/8. So there's the transformations. There's the vertex, focus, and axis of symmetry, directrix. That's what they're asking you to tell me on the last half of the assignment. Just tell me the pieces. It does not say sketch the graph. So you do not have to sketch it, nor did I. That was a y equals 1. So if I have x equals first thing that I'm going to do is find the vertex. What's the vertex for this one? What number's in the h position? -1's in the h. And what number's in the k position? Close. -5. Remember when you pull something out of a parenthesis like that, it will just nothing more than switch a sign. Because of the original formula said y minus k. All right? So now when you're adjusting the vertex and the focus and the directrix, this time you're not going to adjust the y coordinate, you're going to adjust the x. What number do I put 1 over 4p equal to? What number's in the front? 4. It's 4 over 1 if it's not set up in fraction form. So now cross multiply. What's 4p times 4? 16p. What's 1 times 1? How do I solve for p? Divide by 16, and what do I get? P equals 1/16, not 16. Be very careful. Okay? So now we are adjusting the x coordinates as you guys told me. The first one we have to add a 16th. What's negative 1 plus a 16th? How do you add and subtract fractions with whole numbers? Got to get a common denominator. What would be a common denominator for 1 and 16? 16. So that negative 1 is really negative 16 sixteenths. Negative 16 sixteenths plus 1 16th is how many sixteenths? Negative 15 sixteenths. And the minus 5 stayed the same. Now I'm going to subtract the 16th. What's negative 16 sixteenths minus 1 16th? Good. Or if you told me negative 1 and 1 16th, I would also take that. Okay? And then for the axis of symmetry, y equals negative 5. How did I get the negative 5? It was the y coordinate, right? Now, I have not told you the transformations because you haven't told me either. When a vertex is negative 1, negative 5, that means you went which way? How do you graph negative 1, negative 5? You went left 1, down 5. And then what is my transformation for the other one? Vertical. Why is this a stretch? Right. By how much? Good. On the second half of your assignment, that's what they want you to identify. In order to figure out the p, you have to take 1 over 4p equal to whatever the number's in front of the parentheses. Cross multiply, and then either add it or subtract it to it. That's what you have to do. Okay? On page 73, we're 25 to 45 odds.